Hey guys, Professor Patel here. Welcome to the Photography Parlour. For this tutorial, I want to show you how to get the most out of your mobile phone, especially when using the brilliant photo editing app by Google called Snapseed. Totally free, and it's super powerful for simple adjustments and pretty major ones as well, double composites, everything. So I'm going to show you how to use that today and how I made this portrait of myself using nothing more than my mobile phone and some household lights. So the first thing that we're going to do is, obviously once we've got the app downloaded, open the app and you'll see that we've got the option to just tap anywhere and open up a photograph. So we're going to do that. I'm going to scroll down to the images that I made and open up this one. Now, I made this image using my mobile phone, a cheap £3.99 tripod mobile phone holder that I purchased from Amazon, my curtain and a ceiling light, and that's it. I'll show you how to do that a little later on, but for now I just want to run you through the editing process. Usefully, Snapseed allows you to utilize your last edits that you made. So if you're making a series of images or something, all you got to do is hit that last edit button and that's the final result. However, we're not going to do that. We're going to show you the manual way and take you on a bit of a tour of the app. So the first thing we want to do is to hit the tools button just here. And then you've got all these brilliant options to choose from. Some preloaded filters, lots of manual controls. When I'm editing in Snapseed, the first thing that I always start with is tune image. So I'm going to click through there, and then by holding the screen and scrolling up and down, we can see all these tools that we've got selections from, that we can choose from. So I'm going to start off by taking all of the color out of the image with saturation. So once you've got the tool selected, simply hold the screen and scroll left or right in order to move the slider and to make the effect. So I'm going to take all the color out, so I want to minus that all the way down to 100. Once you're happy with the edit, confirm the selection by pressing the tick in the bottom right hand corner. Excellent. I'm going to dive back into tools and start having a play around now. So I'm going to add some curves to it. I mean, this is incredible that a mobile app has curves as an option. So with this, we've got a graphical representation of the tonal range of our photograph. Basically, you've got shadows on the left and highlights on the right-hand side that you can adjust. I'm going to make a gentle S-curve just to add a little bit of contrast. I'm going to pull the highlights up a tiny bit and the shadows down a tiny bit. So that we've got a really gentle S being made out of that straight line, and then I'm going to confirm the selection. Perfect. You can also check back to your original image and the current edit by simply holding the screen. So that's what it did look like, and this is what it looks like now. So that's a great way just to check back and forth. I'm going to dive back into tools again, and I'm going to dive into tune image actually. I want to add just a little touch of contrast using the contrast slider, just a tiny little bit, just to get those shadows nice and crunchy. I'm going to pull up the highlights a little bit. I'm going to add just a tickle of support with the shadows, not too much or else you end up with that, which looks really unpleasant and overcooked. But I'm going to pull that up just a little bit. Confirm there. And then this is one of my favorite things to play around with this app, is just sharpening up the images a little bit. Now, this being a self-portrait meant that it's just a tiny little bit out of focus, especially when shooting on a mobile phone. You haven't got the same control that you have with a DSLR or a mirrorless system. So it's a little bit out of focus. And to rectify that, I'm going to jump into Tools, hit Details, I'm going to hold the screen and scroll to see my options, and I'm going to sharpen the image just a tiny little bit. Just a little. And then I'm going to dive in and I'm going to affect the structure. I'm going to sharpen up just a little bit. That's an incredibly subtle change. If you do want to understand the sliders, what I'd recommend to do is with every tool as you're learning how to use it, jump in there and slide it right up to the top and see what changes happen, and then slide it right down to the bottom and see what happens as well. I mean, with this actually, the structure is giving it that nice kind of soft, milky effect, but we don't want that for this image. I want a super sharp, vintage, kind of mid-century looking image. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to confirm the change. And I'm quite happy with that, to be honest with you. The only thing that I might do in addition is jump into Tools, pop down to Lens Blur, which is quite good fun. And we've got all different types of options that we can utilize with this by clicking on either the horizontal straight line blur or the radial blur. Once you're in there, you can once again adjust the blur strength, the transition, which kind of affects the distance between the central point and the blurred edge, the vignette strength, which is the dark shadow around the outside of the image, or you can use one of the preloaded presets that we've got there. I'm happy with just as it came out of the box, to be perfectly honest with you with this. I might just turn down the blur strength a little bit and adjust that central point just a touch. Oh, make sure it's a round one as well. Just so that around the outside of the image, we've just got that little bit of softness to the curtain and kind of adds to the effect of the era that I want to aim towards. So I'm going to confirm that. I'm pretty happy with that as an edit. It's quite good. Oh, just one more thing actually. I'm going to jump in here. I just want to show you this portrait mode. Now, generally, as a rule of thumb, I'm morally against beautification of images. However, this has this cool feature which is spotlight. So if we jump into here, we've got the face spotlight, skin smoothing. I'm going to take that all the way down. I don't want to smooth off my skin. I've got bumps and wrinkles and I'm proud of them, and that's good. But I do want that face spotlight because I really like it as a feature. If I play around with the slider, you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to bump it all the way up, and you can see it gets darker around the edges and highlights my face. But I want this to be quite a subtle effect again, so I'm going to start at 0 and just pull it up a little bit, just to get that bit of differentiation between me, the subject, and the curtains behind me, the backdrop. So I'm happy with that on around 30. Perfect. Now I'm going to confirm this change. I'm going to hit export on the bottom right of the screen, and that's going to give me these options as to what happens with the photograph. I'm going to save a copy of my image, nice and simple. It's running through the different stages of history of the edit, and then we have it. We're going to have our beautiful image, nice and saved, absolutely perfect. There we go. So there's a little tour of Snapseed. I'd recommend jumping into it and having a play around with it yourself. That's the best way to learn any photo editor. And in comparison to trying to learn Photoshop that way, Snapseed is incredibly simplistic, but a really powerful mobile app. So a must-have for anyone who hasn't got access to Photoshop or is shooting on a mobile phone and wants a really easy, instant workflow. I just want to share with you the setup to make that portrait, because that was really super simple as well. So that was using a mobile phone clamp that I purchased with a tripod on Amazon for $3.99. That came with a small Bluetooth trigger release as well, which makes it really simple for shooting with a mobile phone, especially self-portraits. And a pair of curtains. The light source, the only light source in the image, was a ceiling light that was diffused with the plastic star shape around it. So you can see that, like, if you haven't got access to professional kit and LED panels and speed lights and monoblock heads and things of the sort, you can still take pretty cool pictures. And I'll be covering some more of those simple hints and tips over the coming days and weeks. Give it a go, leave me some comments to let me know how you get on, and share your images with me.